Welcome back on the AM show. Time now for us to go to the Upper East region. But before we do that, we're going to take a sneak peek at day 2 of the Occupy Julobi demonstration. And James Kwesi Aveji is on hand. James, I know you've been following this process. What is the latest you can report to us?
Okay, Ben, so we are currently here in front of the 37th station to actually observe the day 2. From yesterday, we've been told that despite the series of arrests by the police yesterday, the organizers make us understand that they would be continuing with day 2. And so we are here. And when we got here about some 30 minutes ago. There was no other protest individual. In fact, there was no protester here apart from the police. There is an FPU bus full of officers. What I have seen is that they are in their protective gear. Beyond that, I do not know whether they have arms or otherwise. They also have some 4 pickups. One, in addition with the FPU in front of the 37th station, and 3 other pickups parked in front of the Senegalese embassy right across the road. And so just a while ago, the main convener for the protest, as you can see behind me, Oliver Bakar Vormawor just arrived and has been engaging the media. Apart from him, we also have EL, who just arrived. Musician EL is also here. I'll be having an interaction with him to know why he's here this morning. EL, thank you so much for your time. Good to see you. Yes. Why are you here?
I'm here to show solidarity, to show support. To actually put actual boots on the ground. We can do so much online. I think us being present here sends the message across that we are not here to play.
We haven't seen you yesterday. Why did you decide to come today despite the arrest yesterday?
Yes, yesterday was a little impromptu for me. I was not around, but I guess it's better late than never, as they say. Yeah.
What moved you to be part of it, or part of this?
I'm a Ghanaian and I tend to travel a lot. And whenever I come back to Ghana, I realize that things have actually deteriorated to a certain extent, and it's been chipping away at the economy, at the whole general space for a very, very long time. So I'm getting worried about it. I'm getting worried for the generations to come. I'm getting worried about the children, my children, and other things that are going to come after this. It's going to impact them greatly. So this is the time for us to actually make that effort to make something change. Something has got to give, and it's up to us. It's up to us, the celebrities. It's up to us, the people, to put actual boots on the ground and let the powers the powers that be know that, look, we are actually thinking and we have the power to make change happen.
Yeah. What's your personal opinion about what happened yesterday, the series of arrests of the protesters? What's your personal opinion?
It's totally outrageous. I think it's preposterous. It should not happen in any type of democracy. But I think these things happen just to inform other people of the depths of the problems that we are having right now. Peaceful demonstrations have no place. They have a right to demonstrate, and no policeman, no authority has a right to disrupt that. So once that has happened, I think that it's going to give more incentive to people to actually come out and voice their concerns about the bad nature of things, and then hopefully we can go from there.
What exactly do you expect to change in this country?
It's deplorable, but I think we have to start with a rewiring of our thinking. I think there's a big disconnect between where we are and where we want to be. I think that it starts mentally, starts in our minds, and it starts with us gathering together to express these concerns so that we can become of common mind and a common vision, a common objective. And I think once we have that rewiring, we'll be able to all move solidly in one direction.
As a musician, I know that beyond the streets, beyond coming to the street today, are there plans to carry this forward through your music? We know you've done quite a number of stuff on issues like this. Are there plans to carry this forward through music?
Yes, I pride myself in being one of those musicians who has actually voiced a lot of concern about, the state of affairs in our country. I've done Kwame Nkrumah, I've done State of the Nation address, and my fans know. But apart from that, I think that we have to graduate it to the next level. That's why I'm here today. I have so much material out there preaching about what I think about, the industry, about our economy and the government. I have so much material, but there's only so much you can do with music. We have to be here to make sure that we take it to the next level.
Do we expect other colleagues of yours to come give you company in this?
I hope so. Social media is cool. We can do all the hashtagging we want, but at the end of the day, we need to be on the ground, and that's why I'm here this morning. I hope I can stick around and see some of my colleagues pull up. It's quite early, but I hope that as the day goes along, we'll see more and more happen.
Thank you. We wish you well.
Thank you so much.
And so, Ben, that EL musician, we're trying to see if we can have some quick words with Oliver Vormawor live. Oliver, thank you for your time. I mean, despite everything that happened yesterday, you are here. What's the itinerary for today?
As part of our itinerary, we're supposed to be set up at the forefront of the Jolobi House, where the plan the whole day is to hold educational sessions to teach people about the Constitution, about the fundamental freedoms under the Constitution, to teach people about our case demanding for constitutional reforms for a new generation that grants for people economic justice. That's what we are going to be doing here. So as you have seen, I've carried and I've brought on several materials which are intended to help with the teaching aids that we're going to be using. That's what the protest is about. That is an opportunity to also educate people on their rights in a democracy. Some of this job the NCC is supposed to be doing. One Katliadi, who was one of the loudest voices and critics of the government, was always on the streets, now has that institution and have made useless out of it. The continuous politicization of institutions that are supposed to uplift us is what we are deploring. So we were taking upon that charge ourselves, and we're going to be doing the work.
How were you handled yesterday?
Well, beyond the arrest and the violent nature of the arrest, the slaps and other things, the one I am taking particular offense is that all of us were taken to the Greater Accra Regional Command, put into a room, and 17 individuals, plainclothes individuals, who were wearing all kinds of earrings, who had dyed their hair in all kinds of different manners. Others dressed in shorts, in boxer shorts, were thrown into the room and locked on us, and they proceeded to beat us. I do not understand how these individuals who were calling themselves intelligence officers were brought in to beat us. That has to be explained to me. So all the PR and all the crying before committees of parliament, that PR that sustained the police service, we must break that PR down. And for me, this is one of the things I have to say. The Ghana Police Service is less than 40,000 men across board. And these 40,000 people go to training. We train them at public expense. If we cannot ensure discipline with 40,000 people, we have failed the entire country. That is where leadership must be shown at. And this is what we are asking for.
You said earlier on, you said Canada Pai said over his dead body, would you be allowed to protest in the country?
Yes, Ken Dapar, who is Minister of National Security, has made it clear to me that over his dead body we're going to be allowed to protest. And it's not surprising to me that a few months later I was charged and I'm being tried for treason. I think that this government has every intention, and they mean their words, that they are going to depress and going to make sure that they make an example out of me. But we're going to continue to fight. And whatever they want to do, they can continue to do it. But we must show up. Because when abuse of power is loudest, citizens must speak up even more. That's why we are here.
And they went as far as offering you $1 million to back down.
They went as far as offering us $1 million. They offered us a committee, to set up a committee and appoint us to government positions in order to stop this activism. This was made directly to me and other leaders of Fix the Country. This will be refused. Now, this conversation was had at the time with the National Minister of National Security, the Minister of Finance, and a Brigadier General of the Ghana Armed Forces at the Safe House Cantonment. These are information that are verifiable. We recorded that conversation. If people recall,
do you say those are the people who are making the offer?
The people who made the offer on that day. If people will recall, when I came out of jail, I had made an announcement that I was going to disclose the details of the secret meeting that had taken place and some of the things that were said to us. And later I had received several calls from people in this country and refused to disclose those. this information is not something I'm lying about. I can release to you information and calls that the Minister of National Security himself called me while I was in the UK, inviting me to come down to Ghana and at public expense. And I rejected it and paid for my own ticket and flew down to Ghana. And so for me, I know and I've always known that, and there's nothing that I'm saying here that will surprise anybody or shock anybody, that we know that they have taken every kind of attempt through monetary compulsions, through violence in order to stop what we are doing. But we will continue to build, and we are demanding that if citizens really cherish this democracy and are interested in the future of this country, then they will show up and stare down power.
Would you say-
And I'm interested in the treatment you have described. Does that suggest that you are taking the Ghana Police Service on?
Well, for us, we are showing up today. To remind everybody, when I was first arrested at the airport, I was tortured by individuals who were wearing armed forces fatigue and thrown and blindfolded and taken out of Accra. We sued the Ghana Police Service and Attorney General and the Tema High Court. The individual judge before whom we sued, that Ankoma, has been promoted to the Court of Appeal. That case has not gone anywhere for over a year. In their response to the application we filed, the Ghana Police Service admitted planting an individual who was furnished with a phone, a knife, and bread in the cells. These are all public record. The Fourth Estate has reported on this. Nothing has happened there. So again, I understand that so many of
Well, it's sad how technology has, interrupted this. But we'll try to reconnect with them before we continue the conversation. Oliver Vormawor, he's back now. Let's listen.
I absolutely believe that any right-thinking member of our society who will be told that a Facebook post is evidence that I am mobilizing forces to go and overthrow a government, when never in our history has a single individual, a civilian, overthrown a government. When I have made it time and time clear that the government has continued to accuse us of operating with a coup d'etat mentality, and we have poked fun and we have ridiculed this idea of us mobilizing for a coup d'etat, that I'll be charged for treason, is laughable. But for over a year now, nothing has happened with the case. I have been stopped here. I was a PhD student in the University of Cambridge. I have not been able to travel because the government seized my passport. But nothing has happened in the court. We haven't even started trial to this date. So where is the evidence? If they were bold enough to go and demand the court for a day-to-day trial, they might as well give me a day-to-day trial so that I will be able to prove my name in court. Let them do that. So this attempt that by slapping treason charges on me is going to shut us up, it has not worked. And if they were smart-thinking people, they would have given up already.
And back to today, where are your members? The number that accompanied you yesterday, we do not see that today. Where are they?
Well, we have the entire day. Mind you, all of us who were arrested, our devices have been taken away from there. We've not been able to communicate with each other since yesterday. My phones, my house keys, my car keys, all of them are still being detained, as well as everybody. This morning I heard on radio that apparently the Inspector General of Police said he was meeting protesters. Nobody has reached out to me. I'm hearing this on radio for the first time. But I want to be clear, and I've sought advice of my lawyers on this. I have zero interest in speaking or engaging with an IGP who continue to prosecute me. There are 4 prosecutions against me as I speak today. An IGP, when even the British High Commissioner tweeted that you are following my case with interest, released a 7-page letter claiming that I was a coup plotter who was looking to overthrow the government. What conversation do we have to say to each other? He's part of the systemic oppression of Ghanaians. And I'm not interested in any photo op that would create an impression that all is fine with this democracy. It is not. So that's why I'm not entertaining that.
By the way, you've had some moment of engagement with the police. What have they been telling you?
Can you be clear as to what you mean by moment of engagement?
I mean, when you arrived, before I approached you, you've been having some interaction with a police officer. What has he been telling you?
Oh, this is for a lot of people who don't know. I grew up in Akuse Police Barracks. My mom is an active police officer who. Of course, he was stationed when I was a little boy in Akuse Police Barracks, and we're having conversations back to the old days when there was promise in the service.
Nothing in relation to this.
Preventing a musician like EL from standing here to draw crowds.
But the attempt is, again, the police are very clear and strategic on what they want to do. EL has come up to show up as he has promised online that he was going to show and invite his followers to do so as well. by preventing him from showing up. The whole idea is to depress the crowds so as not to embarrass the government. That's what our institutions have become sensitive to. This idea that we must not embarrass the government at all costs. And so even when the truth must be said, they continue to deny it. It is in this democracy that when I was arrested and put in jail, the police service that has never fed inmates in those cells, and never fed and continues to this day has never fed anybody, released a press statement claiming that they continue to feed inmates. Till this day, over a year, our right to information request asking them to provide us the meal plan, how much is spent on persons who are detained by the police service, has still not been responded to. So the lie and all the things that we must do to create an impression that all is going well, it's unraveling before our eyes, and this will continue to happen.
Are you sure that the demonstration will proceed to the Jubilee House today?
I don't understand the question. We have already notified the police, constitution.
The plan was to march from here to the Jubilee House. Are you going to?
That's what we are going to do. I have no basis to speculate as to what the police might do.
One of the reasons you gave for the protest is to let the youth know that they can be heard without coup d'etat.
Yes.
And that they can freely express themselves when they do a peaceful demonstration.
Yeah. So Ben, that's Oliver Vormawor. He is the lead convener for the Occupy Jullobi House demonstration and has been speaking to us. Let me say that he threw quite a number of allegations out there that we cannot independently verify. The most important thing is that he is not too sure whether they will be proceeding to the Jubilee House today. He has no idea what the plans of the police are reacting to the news about the intention of the IGP to meet them. He's placed on record that he's not had any official interaction or engagement with the Inspector General of Police and will not have any interest in meeting the IGP with regards to all of this happening. I would also want to say that, in fact, before he arrived or immediately he arrived, one officer approached us asking us to leave the pavement here where we're just standing, and I mean that we should go a bit further, live here and not gather crowd here. My inquiry was to know whether this place is supposed to be cordoned off as a security zone. He said no, but will not provide reason why. Sorry, we have to provide reason why we had to leave the scene, and so that's what is happening. But just a few minutes ago, a few persons clad in black have been going up and down, as you can see in the shot. A few of the youth are gathering one after the other, and we would only presume that they should be members of this demonstration, massing up to continue with what they had planned to do yesterday. The communication is that from here, if the numbers grow up, they would attempt marching to the Jubilee House to continue with the demonstration. So that's what's been happening here this morning as far as the demonstration is concerned, Ben.
Right. James Kwesi Aveji, thank you so much for being out there for us and bringing us the scoop. He interacted with musician EL and Oliver Vormawor. So just to recap quickly, though we cannot verify, he says his car keys, his phone, his house keys were taken away from him. He has zero interest in meeting the IGP. And he also says he has evidence to prove, though we cannot substantiate now, what he said, that there was some attempt to offer him, together with his cohort, $1 million by the National Security Minister, Minister of Finance, and a general of Ghana's army. That is what Oliver Vormawor said on air. Let's move.